Welcome, foolish mortals. I don't know. Hey guys, it's your old movie buddy Ed South with another installment of What's Your Favorite Movie, the podcast, celebrating film fandom, our favorite movies, and why we love them so much. Thank you very much for tuning in and joining us for another exciting installment. And to my right here in the studio is none other than our good friend, Kevin Anderson. How are you?
Hey, Mr. South. I'm great. It's great to be back here for a third time in the Ed South Studios up in beautiful Hanover, PA. You can smell the pretzels and chips in the air. And I am excited to be here once again for a Halloween horror spectacular.
Oh, I'm so scared. Yes, folks, it's time for a little Halloween installment. So I thought I'd invite my buddy Kevin up and do things a little differently. Also, whenever Kevin's on, we get a lot of listeners, so he brings a lot to the table. So
Inexplicably, I don't know. I guess people are actually paying attention on Facebook after all. Are we allowed to say Facebook?
You're allowed to say Facebook. You can say Bookface if you want. It doesn't matter.
All right. I might flip it. Bookface indeed. I might start my own website called Bookface.
Bookface.
And it's all about books and faces and hitting people in the face with books.
So, Kevin, what have you been up to? You just finished Kevin, as you may remember or know, is an actor by trade, and he just...
by trade,
By trade.
I just got done working on a show at Johns Hopkins called Sex, Gender, and the Pastorship. It was a theater show. I'm working on a TV show right now out in Old Frederick for... Investigation Discovery Channel. This will be my third or fourth venue on that particular channel. And, just try to keep it going wherever I can.
So tell them about the last show you just did. Was just one not that long ago. It was called For Your Man or something like that?
Oh, For My Man. Oh, yeah, I forgot. That was TV1. And that's another one of these shows, these recreation shows, where they take real cases that happen of murders and like outrageous crimes and then reenact them and turn them into these little episodic, usually 30 minutes, sometimes 60 minutes, but... Yeah, it's one of those, and I played in an episode where it was a young lady who basically had an older boyfriend, and they tried to kill her grandparents for money, and they didn't succeed, and he ended up in jail, and actually he ended up dying, and she's still in jail to this day, and she's trying to get out, and that's why the show was
done.
Was done, yeah.
Well, I will say that in watching it and fast forward, I did not spot you in the show.
Well,
that episode, but
yeah, that particular one I was more in the background. So,
but good times,
yes.
Good times. So check
Always
that
fun.
out on TV1. And next up, you're doing Evil Stepmothers, which
I
is
am. Investigation Discovery. Apparently, stepmothers who are just plain old evil and like to kill their stepchildren, I suppose.
That's
and
sad.
so they made a whole show out of it. It's awesome.
They made a movie about it too called Cinderella. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, right. Well, yeah, they are.
So we'll keep everybody updated on Twitter when your new episode comes out. So, by the way, if you're not following us on Twitter, make sure you do at WYF Movie Podcast for all the fun.
I'm following. I just want you to know.
We thank you. We thank you. So I wanted to do a show about Halloween and talk about scary movies, Halloween movies, horror movies, because if you ask me, I think this is a fair assessment. No holiday has absorbed more from film than Halloween. Stuff from movies is major parts of Halloween. I'm talking about like the characters, Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, exactly right. These are characters from movies that have really become the faces of this holiday of Halloween that we
don masks for every year in order to go out and get candy and scare each other.
Right, and then you have the whole genre of horror movies, which might not even have anything to do with Halloween, but some of them have become Halloween favorites for people because they're just scary.
Exactly.
And we have a whole...
In fact, one of them is even named Halloween.
That's right, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
And they made like 100 of them.
Right. But, so would you say you love horror movies? You like horror movies? They're just there. They don't bother you?
I'd say I like them well enough. I'm not one that's easily scared by things, so horror movies to me are not really that horrific because I just can't see them as realistic.
Whereas, for me, they terrify the living hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, we talked about, for example, this movie, The Cell, years ago, which I know isn't on our list, but
right.
that's another
really
scary movie, albeit not Halloween-oriented, but it's a really crazy, scary movie. And
The Cell, and it's Jennifer.
Yeah,
not
I don't
Lawrence.
know what her name is.
Jennifer
Jason
Lopez.
Yeah, sure.
Jennifer Lopez.
Is that who it was? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just remember Vincent. What's his name?
D'Onofrio?
D'Onofrio. Yeah, just hanging from meat hooks in the ceiling.
Aww.
That was just so touching. It was very romantic.
Yes. And I remember a bunch of you guys went to see it, and I sat it out.
I really wanted you to go so badly, and after the movie, myself and our other friend, of course, more yours than mine, but Matt, the mute hot dog vendor, saw it, and we both sort of looked at each other right after the movie and went, yeah, Ed would have just died if he'd seen this. Because it was pretty terrifying. Yeah. But anyway, the Halloween movie itself is just sort of absurd. All these horror movies, in my opinion, are sort of absurd. And so they don't really scare me. But, it's a genre and it's a genre. And, it is what it is.
When I was little, I saw my first horror movie when I was in the 4th grade, which puts you at, 9, I guess? 9, something like that. And I saw Poltergeist on TV one afternoon. It was on HBO. And I don't know why I watched it, if I just flipped on it and it was entertaining and I stuck with it, or if I had known about it, whatever. But... So I watched this movie and don't think anything of it. I'm just watching it or whatever. Okay. It's like in the afternoon. Then that night I go to bed and I am absolutely 1,000% petrified. It consumed my mind. I could not sleep for hours.
Wow.
It just messed me up completely as far as that kind of thing goes. And I was done with horror movies already at age 8 or 9.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that, especially when you're a child. But I think for me, I saw a movie growing up. There were 2 movies I saw growing up. One was called I Spit on Your Grave. And the other one,
Lord.
Yeah, exactly. And the other one was, it just went out of my head. The other one was Who Will Stop the Rain? And that one is about a Vietnam veteran who comes home, and he had been a prisoner of war. And long story short, he ends up getting money from the government when he came back, and he was awarded money and given this hero's welcome. And then he's kidnapped by people who are trying to get the money from him, and they end up sitting him on top of a burning stove, and it's pretty terrible thing to see. So for me, horror movies are more along the lines of realism, so much more so than the things like Friday the 13th and these other movies we're going to talk about, which are, quote unquote slasher films, but they're definitely over imagined, unrealistic portrayals.
And what was that called? Who Will Stop the Rain?
Who Will Stop the Rain?
Never heard of it. From the 70s?
I believe it was late 70s, early 80s, and I honestly couldn't even tell you who's in it or not. I was very young.
And I Spit on Your Grave is absolutely terrifying.
Oh, well, that's a terrible... To me, those are true horror movies because they're things that could be plausible as opposed to, say, the things that happen in Friday the 13th or Halloween that are not really plausible, but they just, happen anyway.
Right. So I saw Poltergeist in 4th grade and was done with horror movies, and then it wasn't until the 8th grade that I was spending the night at a friend's house, and he wanted to watch, again on HBO, thank you HBO, one of the Friday the 13th. I think it's 5. And I guess just forgot about what horror movies do to me or whatever, or thought I was over it. Mm-hmm. And I know you people out there have seen all 20 of them or whatever, and they don't. That messed me up a lot. That Friday the 13th was just terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I saw the 5th one because it's been so long and there's so many of them. The first one was, as with a lot of movies, the first one is usually pretty good and more scary or more, into the plot and the characters as opposed to follow-up movies which are just riding off of the first one. But the first one was scary enough. I mean, a bunch of people sleeping at a camp and, trying to get away from a psycho killer.
That mask did it for me, and no thank you. They make me paranoid. Those kind of slasher movies make me paranoid.
Do you want to know a funny, I'm wondering if you, Mr. Trivia, know this piece of information. In Halloween,
yes,
the mask of Jason...
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers, right. I'm getting them confused.
There's actually a Captain Kirk mask painted over.
How did I think you were not going to know that?
Yes.
I can't believe it.
I've actually seen the first 2 Halloweens, and I enjoyed. I saw them way way later in my
when you were 30.
Yeah, something like that. And I do enjoy both those first two a lot. I've seen those several times.
They're not
bad. They're just good, but they're more like thrillers. They're not gory necessarily. They're not.
True.
I don't like watching people's like intestines get ripped out and stuff like that. But I will tell you of a horror movie that I am very fond of from 1982, and that was the Slumber Party Massacre. Are you familiar? Are you familiar with that?
I have heard the title. I don't believe I've seen it, although I might have. It's hard to remember.
Now, when I was a little movie fan, before the days of VCRs and the internet and everything, before even VCRs, I had a book that was like the size of a telephone book, and it was all these different movies in it, and it had the Slumber Party Massacre, and just reading the little tiny review about a guy that went around killing people with a power drill.
Oh boy!
And I was in. I had to see that, and I saw it.
And naturally, they must have been in bikinis and like.
I think they were nude.
For like right. Well, because they were slumbering. So
well, that's true. In like pajamas or whatever.
Half state of dress.
But it still gives me the heebie-jeebies. But I'll watch it every once in a while, just for good memories. I saw that at a sleepover too, but that one was warranted. Was welcome, I should say. So that's a little bit about me and horror movies and why I don't watch too many. Well, folks, our sponsor on What's Your Favorite Movie, I'm sure, is super thrilled to be sponsoring this award-winning stellar episode. But I thought we'd let our actor friend Kevin, in his best announcer voice, are you going to give us announcer voice?
If you want, sure, why not?
Sure. Tell us about our good friends at DexShirts.com.
Well, let me tell you about our good friends at DexShirts.com, Ed. If you're looking for some really cool t-shirts that celebrate your own personal love of movies, there's no better place to look than DexShirts.com. They have a great selection of unique and exclusive, high-quality t-shirts that feature artistic renderings of some of our all-time favorite movies. Films like Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, Total Recall, Ghostbusters, and of course, Star Wars. DexShirts.com uses a professional print process to bring artists' work directly to their snug and comfortable fitting shirts. These are shirts that you are going to want to wear every day. They are only found on DexShirts.com. I lost my place, so now I'm just improvising. These are shirts you're not going to find anywhere else except at DexShirts.com. Use our exclusive promo code WYFMovie. That's WYFMovie. At the checkout in order to save 20% off your entire order. In case I didn't mention it, though, it's DexShirts.com, D-E-X Shirts.com for all your movie needs.
And those are some nice shirts, folks.
They're
all right,
Dexy.
Kevin, you are in the hot seat for another exciting installment of everyone's favorite game show,
Sweet.
The WYF Movie Pyramid. Are you ready?
I am.
And just like on the $20,000 pyramid, or whichever version you like, 10, 25, 50, 1,000.
Yeah.
You're not winning any money.
Oh, boy.
But you get to pick from two.
Do I get a lifetime supply of Rice-A-Roni?
The San Francisco treat. But that's not all.
Mm-hmm. I get to pick from two
categories.
Oh,
Okay?
boy. Wow.
And the categories are
Oh, boy.
leftover from the last time we played this.
Oh, jeez.
NC-21.
What does that mean?
Or the perhaps better suited for this episode, Between the Sheets. NC-21 or Between the Sheets. You can pick your category.
I'm curious what NC-21 is.
Okay.
I am curious what NC-21 is.
Not the Halloween-themed list, but that's okay. Because this ain't too much of a Halloween-themed episode.
Then, if you want me to pick the Halloween list...
No, I know. I could have. You'll get it. You'll get it. This was left over from from the episode with my friend Sam, who is a fine spirits salesman.
He's a mixologist.
Well, he sells it. He doesn't have a bartender.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, okay, I see.
He's in sales. So NC-21, name these movies associated with alcohol.
Oh, my.
Movies associated with alcohol. Are you ready?
I'll give it my best shot.
All right.
Huh?
Here we go.
Shot?
I only have so much music here, so don't blow it. Johnny Depp plays American journalist Paul Kemp, who takes a job at a Puerto Rico newspaper in the late 1960s in this liquor-drenched comedy-drama flop from 2011.
Oh, my. What is The Secret Garden of Rum Barrels? Was I close? Did that get
I
it?
can't believe the sound effects have let me down again. This is ridiculous.
That means I get to guess again since the music... Oh!
Nicolas Cage goes to Sin City to drink himself to death, falls in love with a hooker, and won an Oscar in this process, in this 1995 classic.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Back in the 80s, when everything was okay, Dudley Moore had a huge hit on his hands with this 1981 comedy where he played a wacky alcoholic opposite Liza Minnelli.
Arthur.
That is correct. From 2006, two brothers travel to Germany and stumble upon a secret ancient competition described as a fight club with drinking games.
What? I don't know what that is.
Beer Fest.
Okay.
This hit comedy from 2009 eventually became a trilogy and taught us that tigers love pepper, but they hate cinnamon.
The Hangover?
Right.
All right.
Patrick Swayze is hired to help clean up the rough crowd at the Double Deuce Club.
Roadhouse.
All right. And finally, this film introduced the world to the Beach Boys song Kokomo, but it's really just about Tom Cruise tossing around a bunch of glass bottles.
Cocktail.
There you go. I think that was a 5 out of 7.
I believe it was.
In addition to playing music, doing sound effects, and reading, I need to keep score next time we do that.
That's right. I got at least an 85 out of that.
Hey, it's all good. That passes in What's Your Favorite Movie land.
It does.
So I did ask Kevin to come up with a list of some of his favorite horror movies that we can talk about here. And you said that your favorite was probably The Howling.
I would say that is correct.
From 1981.
Yeah, and here's an example of another movie that's a little more realistic, if you will. Albeit the premise is that there are a bunch of werewolves. So you go, oh, well, that's not very realistic. But the way...
Werewolf?
There were werewolves, yeah.
Werewolf.
And, yeah, were werewolves, right. And, that in and of itself might not be that realistic, but the way they did it was... Especially for back then, the effects were pretty good. But it's a news reporter who stumbles upon this sort of underground group of people, and she ends up going out to this retreat where they're all gathering, and she sort of becomes the wolf dinner du jour, and they're chasing her around and everything.
And that's Dee Wallace in the lead role, correct?
Sure, if you say so.
From E.T.?
Yeah, sure.
And all those
the guy that
movies?
was in the E.T. suit? Yeah,
No,
that's
the
right.
girl.
Yeah, that's what I said.
The mom from E.T.
The mom, sure.
And Patrick McNee. Mm-hmm. And Kevin McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy, who actually was part of the Brat Pack back then. Is that who we're talking about? No, that was Anthony.
Andrew McCarthy.
Andrew McCarthy, yeah.
Kevin McCarthy was R.J. Fletcher in UHF.
Oh my God! Thanks, mister!
Right.
Oh, wow, that's right. Right, okay, yeah, he was so great in that. He was, I think, the leader of the Wolf Clan people thing, I think. Now that it's been a while since I should have watched it before I came over, but I didn't.
Since I sprung it on you this afternoon, yeah, you didn't
watch
it.
Right. But it was an interesting movie, and I remember at that age, I think I saw it a couple years after it came out. Maybe I was 13 or 14, but there was a very graphic sex scene in the beginning, so naturally that was
enjoyable for any 14 or 15
right, exactly. Even if they are being killed, so
Well, in the 80s, you had to be having sex to be killed in a horror movie.
In a movie, right? Exactly.
In a horror movie, yeah. Definitely.
Nowadays, anybody can do it.
It's disgusting. It really is. Kevin, how many of the sequels to The Howling did you see?
I saw The Howling 2, but I don't think I saw The Howling 3. Were there any more than that?
Were there any more than that?
Oh, my God. Really? Were there? I have no idea.
Well, The Howling was 1981.
Oh, my.
And then 4 years later, in 1985, we get The Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf.
Oh, yeah. Sure. And Michael J. Fox was in that one for a brief second as the Teen Wolf.
Same year. And that starred Christopher Lee in Howling 2.
Oh, yeah.
Now, 2 years later, we get Howling 3. That's all it's called, Howling 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I saw that one.
1988 gave us Howling 4, The Original Nightmare.
Sure. Because when you're the fourth thing, you were the original.
1989 gave us Howling 5, The Rebirth.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's always a rebirth or a remake or a redux, a reboot.
Then in 1991, we have The Howling 6, The Freaks.
Wow. I bet that went straight to DVD. Or Laserdisc back then.
Hold on, we're not done.
Oh, my.
1995, The Howling, New Moon Rising.
Sure. David Crosby was in that from CCR. I see a bad moon rising, howl at the moon. You're right, we are crashing, aren't we?
And then in 2001, The Howling Reborn. 2011, excuse me, The Howling Reborn.
Wait a minute. So wasn't there? What was the first one? There was another one.
Your Sister is a Werewolf.
Yeah,
3, The Original Nightmare, The Rebirth. Freaks, New Moon Rising, Reborn.
So your Rebirth and Reborn? What kind of nonsense is that? First they rebirthed it, then they reborned it?
Then they smack down, flip it, and reverse it.
That's crazy. And then, no wonder they're all howling.
It's insane. The Howling, 1981, with Dee Wallace.
Yeah, it was a decent movie.
Then we go to Halloween, 1978, which we already mentioned.
Yeah, and, that's a fun classic, I think.
Yes,
because
definitely.
It's, that's one of those ones that probably a lot of people, saw and then took their kids to like 20 years later or something. Right. I don't remember the name of the actor, but there was a guy who was a doctor. I think he was trying to stop
Right.
the whole thing. And, he was constantly chasing this guy around and always missing him by 5 minutes or something.
Right.
And that same actor, I think he was on an episode of Get Smart as like one of the chaos guys. And he played it's funny, he was trying to stop this evil creature, but in a lot of other movies he played like bad guys.
I want to say it's Michael Learned. Is that who it is?
Or
Donald Pleasance?
I don't remember. It's so long ago, and I did not do enough refreshing my own memory before I came up here.
Donald Pleasance, I was right.
Well, I tell you, your knowledge of actors in movies is
I just looked it up.
Really amazing. So but you knew it before that, though, is what I'm saying. So that's pretty amazing.
Dr.
But yeah,
Sam Loomis.
I think he was also in a Planet of the Apes movie, the original ones way back when.
How many Halloween movies do you think there are? I don't have them all written down, but I know.
Oh, God, that one, there must be like 12 or 13 of those or something.
Only 10.
10? Okay.
Only
it was
10.
A lot. Yeah, I guess they just crapped out after they got to 10 and said, we don't need to go to a dozen.
Well, there's 8. There's the first 2, and then the third one goes off on its own, and then 4 through 8, I guess, follow the storyline, and then 9 is a rebirth or a...
Sure, a redux, a redo, a reborn.
Rebirth, if you will.
Reconstituted. Well, the third one we were talking about the other day on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
And that was that... Of the Halloween ones, I feel like that one was a standout. It just sort of was different than the others. And I believe that was the one we were talking about where they had the pumpkin heads and the kids were all getting the pumpkins to put on their head. And then they watched this TV show and they all like their brains are melting or something. Or that was kind of, I will say that was a pretty freaky thing to watch as a teenager.
Right.
And, you're going to go out trick-or-treating with your plastic pumpkin, if you were lucky enough to have that instead of a shopping bag, If you didn't grow up really, really poor like our family and you got like a Safeway, you got like an A&P brown bag with handles on it to go out trick-or-treating. So, did I get off the...
No. I thought you were going to go into a Rodney Dangerfield.
Let me tell you, I get no respect here. They give me I said, I want to go trick-or-treating. They said, here's an A&P bag. Go to the store and get a ham. I don't know. Yeah, sure, that was funny. No respect. Get a ham at the store.
Oh, brother. How about Friday the 13th, the original from 1980? How many Friday the 13th do you think there are?
I don't know. That's another one. I'm pretty sure there were like 13 of those at some point.
12.
12, yeah. I thought there was a 13th.
Nobody had the forethought to go all the way to 13.
Yeah, why would you want to? Why would you want to? Why would you want to get to the number of the movie? But that was a good, naturally, of course, Kevin Bacon was in the original.
The original, right?
And he's always been easy to look at. And, what was the other one? Jamie Lee Curtis, wasn't she in that?
She's in Halloween.
She was in the Halloween one. You see, I always get them mixed up. But, and God, she's still,
kicking.
You saw her in that True Lies thing. She looked really amazing.
That was 20 years ago, but yeah, she still looks great.
But, was True Lies really 20 years ago?
84. So 22 years ago, yeah.
That doesn't... Really?
Yeah.
Tom Arnold was popular in 84?
For a brief few moments while that camera was running, yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. It doesn't seem like that long ago.
No.
Well, anyway. So, yeah, the Halloween ones are okay, but I do like the third one the most out of them.
The Season of the Witch is the third one.
Yeah.
And then you said Rocky Horror Picture Show, which... isn't really a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean,
a salute to horror movies.
That's the thing, is it's an homage to horror films and B movies, I think. And it's just sort of become associated with Halloween, I think, because a lot of people like to dress up and all that. And there's a huge faction of people that go around the country and invade these Rocky Horror shows.
Right.
And in fact, you may remember that I was a student at McDaniel College up here in Westminster, Maryland, which is a little south of where you are, Mr. South.
It's South?
South of South. By the way,
that's my new miniseries coming to TV.
It's going to be my horror film. It's called South of South, and everyone's trying to get out of Florida. So anyway, but I'm the only person trying to get in because I got to get to Whataburger. So right outside of Jacksonville, Whataburger. That's a horror story for you. So seriously, though... Jacksonville, right. Not the Whataburger. But Rocky Horror has become a sort of a Halloween tradition only because of the dressing up and everything. But I do enjoy that movie, and I have to say that that's one I haven't seen it in a while. I would sit down and watch it again and again and again because there's nothing like Tim Curry in that movie.
I find the first half hour very solid, and then it just drags on after that for me. I've watched it several times, and it's just...
Well, I understand, but it's a specific genre thing.
Or genre.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason we've said genre twice is one time...
Tell the listener
weave
what's going
some
on.
tales.
That went right over his head. I said, tell the listener what's going on. And stop it. It's going to be me anyway. Go ahead. We know people well. You have a great show, and I love it, or I wouldn't be back here three times.
Thank you. I had an interview at a video store when I was younger, and she asked me what was my favorite genre of film instead of genre.
Right.
And you'd think somebody that worked at a video store and was going to toss around the word genre would know how to say it.
Might know how to
right.
pronounce it. Yeah.
What do you think about the new Rocky Horror Picture Show coming out? Are you familiar with it?
You know how I feel based on our discussion in my second appearance here on the show.
Yes.
I am absolutely not a fan of remaking things.
I heard that this is not a remake as much as it is a tribute to they're not trying to remake the movie. They are doing a tribute to the movie.
Okay. So it's a tribute.
Which I think means remake.
And so when a whole new cast of people does the same thing that was done before...
It's a tribute.
It's a tribute? Okay, that what they're calling it now?
Kevin, listen to this cast. I'm sure you're going to be excited. Victoria Justice is in it.
I have
Ryan McCurtain. And then we have Laverne Cox and Christina Milian from Bring It On 5.
Wow.
Yeah, and then Ben Vereen.
Oh my God. Really? He's still alive?
Ben Vereen, and then Tim Curry is the narrator.
Was Ben Vereen going to be playing Dr. Scott in the wheelchair? I mean, he's old enough now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow,
well, I would imagine if Ben Vereen's in, he's going to be dancing.
Wow.
Tim Curry is the narrator, so he's in the wheelchair, I think.
Oh, okay. No. The narrator isn't in a wheelchair. That's Dr. Scott. Dr. Everett.
Well, you wouldn't get Ben Vereen for something and not have him dancing.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's why I said it, because he's the dancer. But the narrator often is its own thing, but sometimes in shows, Dr. Scott and what's the Meatloaf Eddie, Fast Eddie or whatever his
right.
Those two roles are sometimes played by the same actor.
Does he say, "It's just a jump to the left"?
He does. That's the narrator. Yeah.
I wonder who's going to be the giant lips at the beginning.
I don't know, but I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe Donald Trump can.
I had a feeling you were going to go there.
I don't know.
So the new version is on Thursday, October 20th, which will be the day after this comes out, so we're very dating it. But if you missed the show, this is from the official press release. It's going to be on Fox. If you missed the show or just want to watch it again, stream it on demand anytime, anywhere on Fox.com or Fox Now apps for iPhone, iPad, Android, Kindle Fire, or Apple TV. So there you go if you want to watch the new version.
Is Fox one of your sponsors now? There's a lot of...
Well, it seems like we didn't have quite as much content as I thought we did, but that's okay, because we're still here, we're still having fun. And
absolutely.
We have a whole nother category from the pyramid that we didn't use, so why don't we dig into that, because that's the Halloween theme.
Let's get between those sheets and do
it.
I
didn't say the title yet. Oh, yeah, you did know it. Never mind.
Okay.
Between the sheets, name these movies about ghosts. Name these movies about ghosts. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Here we go. From 2007, After moving into a suburban home, a couple becomes increasingly disturbed by a nightly demonic presence and sets up their video camera to get to the bottom of things.
Paranormal Witness?
Paranormal Activity.
Oh, I was so close. I think I saw that one too. No, it's not the same thing. I will understand if the judges don't want to, search and find their sound effect. And
they gave it to you.
Here, I was going to say I was losing it.
A journalist must investigate a mysterious videotape which seems to cause the death of anyone in a week of viewing it.
I feel like that's The Ring.
That's true.
Yeah.
Number 3, 1999, Bruce Willis, I See Dead People.
Oh, yeah. Sixth Sense. That movie was ruined for me. Story for later.
A paranormal expert and his daughter bunk in an abandoned house populated by 3 mischievous ghosts and 1 friendly one.
Casper the Friendly Ghost? I don't know. Was that right? Really? It was just a guess. Only because you said friendly one.
This 2002 horror film stars Juliana Margulies and Gabrielle Byrne and is about a boat full of spirits.
I have no clue what that is.
Ghost ship, Kevin.
Ghost ship, of course.
Ghost ship.
Ghosts on a plane.
From 1982, a young family are visited by ghosts who at first appear friendly, but then turn nasty and start to terrorize the family before kidnapping their youngest daughter.
Poltergeist.
And finally, Sidney Poitier directed this 1990 film about a man who returns from the afterlife to finish up a project at work and find childcare services for his children.
Really? What? Sidney Poitier?
Directed it.
Wow. I have no clue what that is.
I will give you a hint. It stars Bill Cosby.
Oh, Leonard Part 6. No. Are you kidding me?
Ghost Dad.
Yeah.
Ghost
Dad.
Yes. Indeed.
Leonard Part 6. God.
There's a scary movie.
No
for you.
kidding. The fact that they made it is horrifying beyond belief. Well, I'm glad I got to do both trivia things. Let me ask you this, Ed. What's your favorite horror movie?
And I don't have one. Now I don't have a leftover category for the next episode.
Well, you'll make one up. What's that other list right there?
What?
The Shining. What's that other list? Okay.
You don't read the host's notes for crying out loud.
I'll just go back to this Dex shirt promo.
I don't. I mean, like I said, I don't really have a favorite horror film because I don't really watch them that much. I like. I do. I like Slumber Party Massacre, and I love Chopping Mall.
My!
Have you ever seen Chopping Mall?
I have not, but I imagine it's about as good as Chud.
It's funny you say that because I have a DVD of it's like a triple feature, and Chud is on there. Along with Chopping Mall.
Isn't that see? I called it. They're both in the same genre of crap.
Chopping Mall is about a bunch of kids who decide to lock up in the mall for the night and have a big party. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, it happens to be the same night that the new robotic security guards are activated. Sure. And lightning strikes the mall. The robots go haywire and kill everybody.
Sure. Yeah, I saw that when it was called RoboCop.
No, this is much more terrifying than RoboCop.
Oh, yeah.
It's not scary at all, and it's not a horror. I mean, it's hardly a horror movie. But the box looks like a horror movie, and Why didn't
I pick Night of the Living Dead? That's a great movie, and we could have talked about that for an hour. Keep going.
Go ahead and talk about it.
Well, that's good. Yeah, keep going.
Chopping Mall is just a great film. You should check it out, and it is very funny, and I like it a lot. Night of the Living Dead, filmed in Pennsylvania.
But real quick about Chopping Mall, I did see the second one starring Sherry Lewis. It was the Lamb Chopping Mall. So anyway,
nobody gets these references.
No,
That's
they
okay.
stuck. Well, Sherry Lewis doesn't get it. She's because she's got Alzheimer's. But anyway,
is she dead? She's dead, isn't she?
She's probably dead. Yeah.
But Lamb Chop lives
forever. Exactly. I knew it. But Night of the Living Dead was a great movie, though, and they usually show it around Halloween, and I like watching it. The original one where the central character is a black guy who is saving himself and other people, and because of racial prejudices, they end up killing him at the end, really, because there's no reason for them to shoot him. But it's a good movie, and it's probably what this generation, this current generation really loves zombie stuff, and so that you would think they would like that as well, even though it's kind of maybe low tech by comparison.
But they still make every couple of years there's a new Living Dead movie.
Oh, yeah,
whether it has anything to do with the original or not, they're all kind of, grandfathers of the
Sure,
original.
sure. Because, the premise itself is still intriguing that people will come back to life and, start eating everybody.
And hey, who doesn't love The Walking Dead?
Yeah, it's a good enough show. If you can get past the part where they've been on the run for months and months and months and months, and even maybe years without any real nutrition or bathing or sleeping properly, and they just keep going and fighting zombies. Yeah, it's the premise is interesting, and of course they're going to keep making it because that's something that's one of the last frontiers of horror, if you will. So in other words, the world already has Jasons, and the world already has Michael Myers, not the funny one, the killer one. And the world already has these sort of, psychopathic killers. But the world doesn't have zombies. And so that's a more intriguing something that, hey, maybe it could come true.
Right, that's deep.
Yeah, well, that's why I come up here for the Ed South Movie Report.
Thesis to end on there. That is pretty good. That's good stuff.
Well, thank you. It just spilled right out of my fat mouth. My fat, provocative mouth. We should have another podcast called Memories of Ours, and it's just you and I reminiscing about all these inside jokes and memories.
Have, yes.
And,
And it'll have just as many listeners.
Right, exactly.
So one thing that I thought we would do real quick on this episode, since it's a very dated episode because it's Halloween and it's coming out right before Halloween, and that's okay. I usually like to make the shows a little more timeless so that you can listen to them in any order at any point in time, but this one's definitely for right now. So I recently had the opportunity to see Animal House in the theater.
Excellent movie.
And then just recently I took my 13-year-old son, to see Young Frankenstein in the theater, which was also awesome, and he loved it, and he had never seen it before, and I hadn't seen it in a while. And it really is just a completely different experience to see a movie in the theater with an audience on a big screen, even if you have the DVD or it's on TV.
Oh, yeah.
So,
was it the original Mel Brooks?
Yeah,
it was not like a remake.
No. It was the original Mel Brooks.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
And they had a live introduction by Mel Brooks that was piped in live from Hollywood, and it was really cool. Yeah. Just a funny movie, Young Frankenstein, another great Halloween movie. So I just went through and found some old movies, favorite movies of people that are going to be showing in theaters nationwide. So it doesn't matter where you're listening to this. Check your Fandango or whatever movie listings whatever. Blah.
Whatever happened to Movie Phone? Is that still a thing?
No, I think that went the way of Fandango.
You've called Movie Phone.
Thank you for calling Movie Phone.
If you've chosen 300, press 1 now. Y tu mambo tambien. Rated R.
There was some foreign movie called
Y tu mama tambien.
And the way the guy said it was hilarious. And we sat there and listened to it.
You just call Movie Phone for hours and listen to him say
it on repeat. So here's some great old movies coming. No, it's fine. Here's some great old movies, favorite movies coming to theaters near you that you can check out on October 23rd and 26th. The Shining is going to be playing
great
in theaters.
Halloween movie.
Yeah, great. Well, that's why
Scatman Carruthers.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. Olive Oil.
Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
Right. So, these are playing in theaters all over the country on October 23rd and 26th. And then November 6th and 9th, they're showing From Dusk to Dawn.
That's not a bad movie.
Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney.
What's his name? Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
And that guy, I can't remember his name, but he's in the Machete movies. He's like a weird, tough guy.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah. He's starting to become more popular nowadays.
Yeah.
And
he was great in Muppets Most Wanted.
Wow. That's amazing. God, that's amazing.
So, and then...
Didn't he date Miss Piggy for a week?
I think so. Who knows? November 13th and 16th. I'm excited for this one. Get ready, Kevin, because we're going to go see, in the theater again, Space Jam.
Oh, wow. I can't wait. I'm going to need 2 tubs of popcorn for
Starring
that.
Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well,
I am all
maybe we can catch a double feature with that in Air Bud and make our whole lives fulfilled.
Did you ever see Space Jam?
No, I did not.
Oh, such a great movie.
You know that I'm not a very big fan of movies with live people and comic and cartoons, even though Roger Rabbit was a good movie. Bob Hoskins, Pink Floyd, keep going.
November 27th and 30th, Breakfast at Tiffany's. That's a good film.
I've never seen that movie.
And if you go see it, when they go and visit the guy in jail in the movie, the guy in jail that they go to visit is played by Alan Reed, who was the original voice of Fred Flintstone. So that's pretty cool. And then finally on December 11th and 14th is a bigger, way backer classic, 1950s, From Here to Eternity with Burt Lancaster and Donna Reed.
Yeah, I've never...
I have not seen it. It's on my radar.
I'm not a big fan of it. Some of the older movies are great, but I don't know, I just never got into it.
Well, that's that. So that's Old Movies, Big Screen. That's a segment on our show now.
Awesome. Old Movies, Big Screen. Well, you might be able, maybe the Senator, is that still there or is that gone now?
The Senator in Baltimore is still there. I like to try to keep the show a little more than our backyard, but every big city has an old theater that shows old movies on their own. Mm-hmm. But most of these that I just mentioned are nationwide through a service called Fathom Events. And they schedule it, and they'll show it at different theaters. Not every theater, but check. You can go on a Fandango or go to Fathom Events. Again, not a plug, and they'll tell you what theaters it is.
And while you're out there, stop by DeckShirts.com, enter the code WYFmovie, and get 20% off a shirt.
That's it, for unique and exclusive T-shirts inspired by nostalgia, pop culture, and iconic movie themes. It's DeckShirts.com. You jumped into that so smoothly, it sounded like I edited it in there, but that was not one of the 50,000 edits in this episode. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. I promise we will have much more content on our next episode. But Kevin, thanks for coming again.
It's always my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I love being in the Ed South Studios. And hey, keep watching those movies, folks.
Hey, I'm the host. I'll have the catch line.
Okay.
Guys, if you like what you heard, tell a friend. Tune in again the first and third Wednesday of the month on iTunes, Spreaker.
First and third Wednesdays. Yes!
Oh, boy.
Okay, you're the host. I'm the sidekick.
Yeah. That's all good. And follow me on Twitter, at Ed South. Kevin, at
Kevin, what is it? Kevin Joel Andertu? Because that's a name.
And the show is at WYF Movie Podcast. Email favemoviepodcast@yahoo.com. And we're also on Instagram, Facebook. Share one of those things with somebody and let it, maybe wait till the next episode and share it with people. But until then,
maybe send them Laura's.
Yeah. So the point of episode 13 instead. All right, guys. Kevin, thanks very much.
My friend, thank you.
All right, guys. Until next time, it's khaki wishes and cookie dreams.
Roll those credits.